Hi, Beaux here at Beaux Knows Insurance, Read Insurance. Today I'm going to talk to you about 9 different things that affect your car insurance premium. That is the cost that you pay each and every month or every year or every 6 months that you pay for auto insurance. I'm going to give you 9 different things that are going to affect that, plus also one bonus that you can do to help offset some of that cost and make it cheaper for yourself. So let's dive into that and let's talk about the 9 different things that affect you. Some of those things you can control, some of those things you can't control. Some of those things that you can take preventative action to make sure that you keep your rates lower. Some of these things, if you'll do them, actually will help reduce your costs on your insurance. But then there's some things unfortunately, you just can't control at all. So let's talk about those, and let's talk about some of the things first that you absolutely just can't control. One of those is your age. Well, unfortunately, age is a big factor. People who are younger typically are going to have more accidents than people who are older. People who are under the age of 25, especially teenagers, unfortunately, it's not ageism, it's just statistically it's proven that younger, unexperienced drivers just have more accidents. What you'll find is on your auto insurance is that you will pay the most premium or the most cost when you're younger. Whenever you're a teenager up until around about the age of 21 to 23. Around about 23, you'll start seeing a little bit of a reduction. Now, it's not going to be just like a massive reduction in cost all of a sudden, but you'll see that it gets a little bit better. Then when you turn 24, then 25, then 26, it will just continually get a little bit better until probably around about 30 years of age. And really probably the best rates are typically somewhere around 45 to about 55 years of age. That group of people tend to be the most the most rate adverse, meaning that they typically are I guess you could say the more seasoned, I guess you could say that, but they are the ones that have the least amount of accidents. They're the most cautious and the most careful, and maybe they don't drive as much too. I'm not really sure about that specific thing, but you'll see that that's kind of the sweet spot really. Once you get over about 65, up into 70, 75, into 80, you will see that those rates will start creeping back up again. Because as you get older, unfortunately, your reflexes become less acute, and you are a little bit slower to respond, and also your vision fails as well. So age is one of those big things. Okay, well, number 2 is gender, and that's something you can't really control. You can't control that you were born male or female, but it has been statistically proven that males have more accidents. They also have more violations. Now, you can look at different statistics out there. You can do a Google and find that depending on which search you pull up, you may see that it says, well, actually women have more accidents. Well, there's one thing that I saw that said that 68% of all accidents are actually women versus men. But really, that's a little bit skewed because women don't drive nearly as much as men do. So like on the deal, like with the accidents, it's a little bit misgiving because also statistically, men drive about 50% more than women do. The average miles per year per vehicle is about 15,000 miles. The average woman is around about 8,000. And the average man is about 50% more than that, which is about 15,000 or even 18,000. Another thing is that men are just proven to have more violations. Violations inside of the year is almost double the amount of violations that men have versus women. So unfortunately, guys out there, you're giving us a bad name. We have more accidents, we drive more, and we have more violations. We also are more responsible for more fatality accidents as well. 28,000 versus 11. 28,000 of the fatalities that have happened because of a vehicle in the last year were because of men versus only 11,000 for women. So guys, we need to do better out there. The next thing is going to be credit or credit score. Now, credit is, it's one of those things. It's the FICO score. That's 820. It's a really, really good one. 520 is kind of middle of the road, and then you go down lower. Well, depending on what your FICO score is or that credit score, it's going to affect your rate. Now, as Dave Ramsey says, FICO is just proving that you worship at the altar of of debt. And well, maybe that's true, maybe that's not. But the reality is there's a lot of things in life that are just based off of that FICO score. Whatever your opinion is, it is a reality that this is one of the things that will determine how much you pay for car insurance. This is the case in all states except for two, that's Oregon and Washington. But in states that we work in, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, those states are going to use credit as one of the factors. Now, they're not actually pulling your credit score. They're not seeing whether you got a 400 or a 800 or whatever else. They're not looking at that. There's other data that they pull from that, though, that they can use to help determine that number. Now, you may think, well, that doesn't seem fair. What does that have to do with me as a driver? Well, the theory is that because you take care of your money and because you manage that well, that everything else in your life you should manage well. There's some reason I think in that, because money is really kind of one of the harder things to manage, and if we're able to do that, that should translate into other parts of our life. So credit is a really big thing in that, and that is something you can control. Just make sure you pay bills, don't overextend yourself, different things like that, and that can help with that. If you have a poor credit now and you are able to fix it, go back and ask your carrier to give you another re-rate, to re-rate you based off of your credit to help give you a better rate, because most carriers will do that. If they can't do it within that carrier, at least your agent, if you have an independent insurance agent like we are, can rerun your quote for you with another company to get you a better rate. Because there's just no sense in overpaying for adequate or really good coverage. So another thing is location. Now, you may or may not can control your location, but here's the reality is, if you live in a really large city, there's a lot more accidents there than there are in rural areas. Because in rural areas, it's country driving. There's not nearly as much traffic. The things that happen more in the rural areas, more like windshield peck, stuff like that. But inside the city, there's just a lot more congestion, a lot more traffic. There's a lot more people with road rage and things like that. So there's a lot more opportunity, right? There's a lot more opportunity for an accident in a city versus in a rural area. So if you live in a rural area, you're going to pay less than you would if you live in a city. Another thing is going to be your driving record. Now, there's a couple of different things to consider inside of your driving record. One of them is accidents. Another thing is actually violations. Now, both of those are broken up into different groups. Let's talk about accidents first. So accidents are going to be either one is going to be an at-fault accident, the second is going to be a not-at-fault accident, and the third is going to be like a comprehensive incident. An at-fault accident is where you are proven to be at fault. You got in an auto accident and you caused the damage. Maybe you didn't do it intentional. Let's hope you didn't do it intentional. But still, they still say, well, because of your actions, this accident happened. If you wouldn't have done such and such, then this accident wouldn't have happened. So your car insurance is going to have to pay. Well, that is going to be called an at-fault accident against you, and you will be charged for that because you are now a higher risk than the average driver. Rates are all based off of the averages. They're basing off of the average for whatever your age is, the type of vehicle, where you live, and your credit, and all those other things. They're basing it off of an average. Well, the second thing is going to be a not at fault accident. Now, not at fault falls into some different areas. Sometimes there's a little bit of contributory negligence, meaning that you're a little bit to blame. Sometimes that happens and that may be charged against you, but typically if it's a true not at fault accident, meaning you didn't cause the claim, but there's not other insurance to pay for it, so yours has to pay for it, typically they don't charge you for that. The third is going to be comprehensive. That's like a tree falls on your car, water damage from flooding, lightning, fire, things like that. Those are typically not going to be charged against you. The second thing is going to be violations. Now, violations also fall into different categories of either major or minor. An example of a minor would be a windshield ticket, or maybe you got too dark a tint, or maybe maybe you're playing your music too loud. I don't know if you're a rocker out there. It could be also something like maybe you didn't get your car inspected if you're in one of those states that's an inspection. The next category is really going to be something like, in the middle there, like maybe it's speeding, but it's only like 5 or 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. A major is going to be things like either you had a single car accident, you're driving in excessive speed, like over 20 miles per hour or 15 miles per hour, depending on the state. That's going to be considered reckless. Another would be an at-fault accident, and another would be like a DUI or driving under the influence. Those are going to be major. Depending on where you fit in those categories, it's going to increase your rate. Also, if you have multiple accidents or tickets or violations, it's a good chance that you may get canceled and have to go with what's called a non-standard company that's going to just right out of the gate have much higher rates because the average in that pool is not nearly good as a driver. So let's talk about what's the next thing. Let's talk about mileage. Mileage is the next thing. We talked about men versus women earlier, right? Men drive 50% more than women do. Mileage is going to have a lot to do. There's a lot of companies that give you a discount if you drive under 5,000 or 3,000 miles per year. And you think, well, who drives like that? Well, there's lots of people. My wife is a school teacher. She just retired as a school teacher for 28 years. And all she ever did was just drive back and forth to school. If we did anything else, we went in my vehicle. So she qualified for that low mileage discount. Maybe you have a stay-at-home mom. They may not drive very much. Maybe they just go to the grocery store and some other couple little outings, and maybe they just don't drive very much. Or maybe a retired person. They have 2 vehicles, but one of the vehicles isn't used very much. I mean, it's just all kind of different scenarios of where you may qualify. If you know that you drive under 5,000 miles, ask your agent about a discount for that. If you drive more miles, meaning like you drive away for work or different things like that, they're going to charge you more for that because, think about it. The more miles you drive, the more opportunity there is for an accident. The less miles you drive, the less opportunity for an accident. So it's just they're basing it again off of those knowns. The next thing is going to be a vehicle, like the type of vehicle that you drive. If you drive a sports car, you're going to pay more. Now the color's got nothing to do with it. Red cars do not cost more than blue cars. That's got nothing to do with it. What's got to do with it is performance and power, their ability to withstand an accident, and also how much damage that they would do inside of an accident. A much larger, like a F-250, is going to cost you more because it's just a lot of vehicle. It's got a really high value, and you hit somebody with it, it's going to do a lot of damage. Versus you have a smaller car like a Prius, it's just a much smaller car. It's not going to do near as much damage to somebody if you hit them with it. And so the cost is going to be drastically different. Also, like a Buick Enclave, it's just, you can get one of those for $20,000 to $30,000 versus the F-250 is going to be, $60,000 to $100,000. Because of the difference in the value of those two, that F-250 is just going to cost more to insure than that Buick Enclave does. So just kind of think about that when you're looking at vehicles and insurance. Another thing is going to be your coverages. Now your coverages, you can control this, right? Your coverages are the things that you buy. It's smarter to buy higher liability limits. Buying higher liability limits will help protect you, protect your assets versus choosing, it's going to cost you a little bit more, but it's not going to cost you nearly as much as choosing lower deductibles on your comprehensive and collision. There's other coverages you can add or remove, such as uninsured motorist, MedPay, rental, other things like that, that will affect your premium. So depending on what coverages you need, it's going to make your premium go either up or down. A good way to save is going to be to have higher deductibles on your comprehensive and collision. Both of those you can say, instead of taking $250 or $500, choose $500 or $1,000. That's going to save you some money on those two different things. So that's the 9 different things that you can do that potentially you can do to affect your rate. Also that they do just have a bearing on what your rate is. Now, I promise you, I've got a bonus one now. So here's the bonus one. This is number 10 technically is if you have not tried Telematics, try it. Don't be scared of it. Telematics is either an app that you install on your phone or a little plug-in thing that you'll put into your car that monitors how you drive. Now, don't be worried about Big Brother. Big Brother is not watching out for you. They're not monitoring you. They're not following you. They're not trying to sell all your data to somebody else. And they're not selling your stuff to the government or to, a Big Brother that's watching in the next room or anything like that. They're not doing that. If you got one of these things, a cell phone, People are tracking you. The companies are tracking you, all the different apps you've got on your phone and all that stuff. They're already following you much more than the insurance company is with the telematics programs. What they're trying to do is they're trying to reward you with a better rate. If you are a better than average driver, you deserve a better than average rate. Look, repeat that with me. If I am a better than average driver, I deserve a better than average rate. You are shorting yourself if you don't try the telematics program if you are a better than average driver. So just try it. Most of them have an opt-out period if you don't do very well, but look, here's the theory. If you install that on your phone or plug it into your car, you're going to be aware of it, right? If you're aware of it, aren't you just naturally going to drive better? Because you're going to be conscious of it, right? Look, they're looking for hard stops, hard acceleration, the time of night that you drive, and also how many miles you drive per day. If it's under 50 miles per day, you're golden. If you're not driving between like 2 and 6 a.m., hey, you're great. If you're not driving, if you're not stopping really hard or taking off like a jackrabbit at intersections, you're going to get a discount. Most of them give you an automatic discount just for trying it, and then a lot of them will give you a discount all the way up to 30%. 30% per car. Typically, you get to keep that discount for the life of your policy. As long as you have a vehicle, whether it's car 1, car 2, car 3, whatever, it doesn't matter. As you trade them in, you still get to keep your discount. So give it a try. It is a great way to help you save money and get the discount that you deserve. I hope this has helped you out. I hope these 10 different things, the 9 different things, as well as also the bonus one, have helped you to understand what affects your car insurance, maybe helps you make a little bit wiser decisions about your habits and, and all the other things outside of, just you driving your car that affect you. And then also give telematics a try. Hey, if you got any questions, hey, make sure you leave them in the comment section. If you got any suggestions or anything like that for another video, hey, I'd be glad to record that for you. I appreciate you watching. Please make sure you hit that thumbs up. That helps other people just like you to find this video, to help them also get tips on how to make more informed decisions about their insurance. Hey, if your insurance agent is not having these sort of conversations with you, then maybe it's time for you to find a new independent insurance agent. Hey, we're glad to help you out. We can help you out in the states of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi. Glad to help you out in any of those. Hope you have a great day.